So we are going to go for interrogative pronouns now. Interrogative pronouns. So when we talk about interrogative pronouns, the two common ones are who and whom. Let's first examine who and whom, then I'll go to the other ones. You know, when I'm referring to a subject, I will use a who. When I'm referring to an object, I will use a whom. So if I say, who is the best student? So what will be my answer? He is the best student or she is the best student, right? So I'm actually referring that the subject, that is the best student, that is what I'm looking for, right? Okay. If I say, who is your teacher? Who is your teacher? So then again, I'm referring to who, right? He is my teacher. Whom is when you are the subject and you're referring to someone else. Whom are you meeting? So the focus of the sentence is not on the person you are meeting. The focus of the sentence is on you. You are the doer of the action. So whom are you meeting? Right? So that is the objective case. Okay. If I say the student whom I taught is now the CEO of a company. Right? So here again, the focus is on me. Although I'm talking about that person who's the CEO, but the first action is that I taught him. Right? So the student whom I taught. Whom did you teach? I taught him, and he is the CEO. Right? So this is how we use it in the subject and the object form. Right? So interrogative pronouns. So for example, if I say, I asked who was speaking. So I asked, he was speaking, not whom was speaking. It will not be whom was speaking. It will be I asked who was speaking. He was speaking and I asked, kaun bol raha tha, right? So that is important, children. So these are interrogative pronouns, right? And my handwriting is absolutely trashy today, but nevertheless, I will keep on sending the notes for your reference. Okay, let's go ahead. Now, other interrogative pronouns which we can use are whose. We can use whose. So, whose book is this? Kiski, whose, right? So, that is also important. Then another one is what. Please repeat what you said. Right? What is that? Right? So these are all interrogative pronouns. Then we have which. Which is he? Out of many people, you're asking, which is he? Right? So which? Which of the boys saw him? which of the boys saw him, right? So very, very important. All right. So, these are all interrogative pronouns. Okay. So they are asking questions and they are used, as we said, in the various forms, in the subjective form, in the objective form, right? And when we talk about whose, right, it's the possessive form. To whom does it belong, right? And what and which are all also interrogative pronouns. Now, adding to your confusion, which and that can also function as relative pronouns. Okay, so you might be wondering, and I'm telling you this jargon which I usually do not use in class. I have to use it because of the Olympiad, right? So because they ask you. Now, for example, you see, what are relative pronouns? Even who and whom can be used as relative pronouns. So if I go back here, the student whom I saw, right? It's a relative pronoun here. It's not an interrogative pronoun. It's a relative pronoun. Okay. So the student whom I taught, kisko padhaya, usko padhaya. So it's not interrogative. It's not asking you a question. Interrogative pronouns will always come in the beginning of the sentence, right? So this is a relative pronoun. Please pay attention, right? Okay. Now coming to relative pronouns, we are again referring to pronouns like who and whom, but where they do not begin a sentence, So for example, if I say the student who stood first is very smart. So here, what is this relating to what? It's relating the student to his position of standing first. The boy whom I taught is very smart. Let's use the same thing, right? So whom again is a relative pronoun over here. Just remember that. Whoever, whichever, whatever, they are all relative pronoun. Whosoever, right? So what's the difference between whoever, jo koi bhi, right? And whomsoever, jis kisi ko bhi. So I'll use them in sentences for you. Whoever answers first gets a chocolate. That is one way of writing it. Whomsoever I choose, or whomsoever I pick, let's make it pick, becomes the monitor. Right? So again, they are not interrogative, they are relative, although they are beginning the sentence, right? But whoever answers the first gets a chocolate. Who gets a chocolate? Jo bhi pehle answer karega. And whomsoever I pick becomes the monitor. Right? Jis kisi ko bhi main pakdunga. So whatever, whichever also are relative pronouns. Whichever and whatever are also relative pronouns. Just remember this, right? So I'm just clicking a picture from here. This. I'll send the same pictures to class 5, huh? Don't worry. Okay. Excellent. Then in relative pronouns, we also have that and which. So the book that I borrowed is good. Okay. The what chair which is red is my favorite. Right, so they are also relative pronouns. Right, so all these are relative pronouns. Just remember that. And now there is something called demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrative, which point to something. So this is a book. This is a book. That is a tree. See, again, that is coming. Now here it is being used to point to something, right? So that is a tree. These are books, and those are trees. Those are trees. So you might have noticed something. This, these, that, as, those. That is when we are pointing to something far away, and this is when we are pointing to something near us. Okay. So this is Aditya, and those are other students outside the class. Right? So just remember this. Demonstrative pronouns, they point towards things. They point towards things. All right, that is what they do. Great. There's no power now in my house. I'll have to switch off many things. Just give me a moment. All right. So far, so good. Now, what other kind of a pronoun are we left with? We have done demonstrative, we have done this, we have done that. We are left with an indefinite pronoun. Indefinite pronouns. What do you think can be indefinite pronouns?
Sir, which is not countable.
Yeah, it is something like one. One hardly knows what to do. One hardly cares. So we are not pointing towards someone specific. We are saying someone hardly cares. One hardly cares. None of his books are great, are good. Right? So one, none, all. Right? Then you have some, somebody, someone, no one, right? All the words which end in a body or one, or these ones which are one, none, or, they are all indefinite pronouns because they are not pointing to someone specific, right? Sometimes words like others, right? So sometimes even words like many are all indefinite pronouns. Okay. Then there is one more category of pronouns, which I think now is the last one for us, is the distributive pronouns. Is the distributive pronouns. Don't worry if you're not able to write everything, I'll send it to your class groups. Okay, don't worry, you can copy it from there. Distributive. Distributive. So when we talk about distributive pronouns, we are talking about each. We are talking about either and neither. Either and neither. Just remember this. Okay. So you remember one more thing. When we talk about each, either, neither, we always use a singular verb with them. We always use a singular verb with them. Never ever would they take a plural verb. Remember this, children. Why are they called distributive pronouns? Because they refer to persons or things one at a time, right? So, for example, if I say each of the girls gets a prize, maybe, right? Then either, neither. If I say either of the boys is not. Remember, they are taking a singular verb, is, right? And when I do subject to verb agreement, I'll do with either and neither, more of combinations I'll show you, and sometimes the plural verb comes in, but with either of, neither of, each of, right? Just remember, or with each, we'll always have a singular verb. Okay, so that is something which is important. So this is about pronouns, children.
Sir, will every be also here?
Every, yes, every can also come here, right? You can put every, each, either, but distributive will, yeah, you can say every, why not? So every man and every woman is good, so they'll all take singular, right? So this is what pronouns are. So now I would want all of you to, start doing these 2 chapters. In fact, you should do more chapters also, because your exam is just staring at you, right? But specifically when you do nouns and pronouns, you need to picken up with the notes of today, right? And you need to finish them and do these chapters, nouns and pronouns, in your grammar, Olympiad grammar workbooks, right? Very, very important. Now, apart from this, what else needs to be done? We have verbs, we have tenses, right? We have conjunctions, prepositions, so which I'll cover in the further classes that I take with you, right? Vocabulary, you have to read on your own, right? So that is something which is important for you to do. Keep reading, keep answering questions, right? So that is it, children. So have a good day and have a good Sunday now. And thank you very much. Thank you for joining the class. All of you who have been here from the beginning, you know,
Thank you, sir.
a great thank you to
Bye,
each
sir.
one of
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
you. Bye. Bye,
Thank
children.
you, sir.
Bye, bye, bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Bye, bye, bye.